Hello and welcome to yet another episode of the Unnamed Podcast. And of course, I am your host, RJ Akash, aka Evil Monkey. The Unnamed Podcast में मैं बात करता हूँ कुछ ऐसी अमेजिंग पर्सनालिटीज़ के साथ जो अपने काम से अपनी लाइफ में तो चेंजेस ला ही रहे हैं, साथ ही साथ सोसाइटी में भी अमेजिंग चेंजेस ला रहे हैं. एंड इन केस आप खुद एक ऐसी शख्सियत हैं या फिर आप किसी ऐसे इंसान को जानते हैं जो अपने काम से अपनी लाइफ और सोसाइटी में चेंजेस ला रहे हैं, देन फील फ्री टू ड्रॉप मी an email on evilmonkeyden@gmail.com. चलिए बात करें मेरे आज के गेस्ट की तो वेल ही इज़ अ वेरी इंटरेस्टिंग पर्सनालिटी जिनको मैं आज अपने शो पे इंटरव्यू करने वाला हूँ. ही इज़ द फाउंडर ऑफ कॉमिकॉन इंडिया. जी हाँ, सो इन केस यू आर लिसनिंग टू दिस पॉडकास्ट एंड यू आर फैन ऑफ कॉमिकॉन एंड यू हैव बीन टू वन ऑफ कॉमिकॉन इंडियाज amazing exhibits and amazing fanfare, well then this is the episode for you because I am going to talk to Jatin Verma who is responsible for getting Comic-Con to India. और उनसे मैंने बात करी, उनसे मैंने जाना कि what were the difficulties for getting Comic-Con to India और उसके साथ साथ कि आगे what are the future plans for Comic-Con India post coronavirus pandemic. So let's talk to Jatin Verma. Hello Jatin, how are you?
I'm good, man. How are you?
I've been good, man. It's been long that we I think 1.5 साल हो गया. 2018 was the last time that we had a word, right?
Yeah. It's been about 2 years. Yeah.
So how have been things? Yeah, how is Comic-Con India doing? Abhi not abhi, but like previous year and like how it was.
Comic-Con was fine till the pandemic happened. In fact, this would have been our 10th anniversary year. So we would have kicked off our 10th year this year with the 10th anniversary, which is of the first ever Comic-Con, which is going to happen next month because we did the first show in Delhi in February of 2011.
Okay.
So we had a lot of plans and everything as with everyone else. Everything is now brought to a halt. So we are just sitting and waiting for things to get better eventually for shows to come back.
So like everybody is thinking of the things to get better.
Unfortunately, I think everyone's kind of understood that this will take a while. So till then, what can be done? But I mean, I live in Delhi and you roam around Delhi, you see a lot of people just roaming around without, as if there is no pandemic. So good for them. But people like us, तो हमें तो बैठ के wait करना ही पड़ेगा.
Exactly. Very true, man. Very true. So if we talk about Comic-Con India, so like Comic-Con has been there for a very long time, but you got Comic-Con to India. So how the idea kahan se aaya? Like how did you get the idea of getting Comic-Con to India?
Look, so back in 2000, I started a company in 2007, which is not related to comics or anything. It was a publishing company. It was initially publishing magazines, and then we made a graphic humor magazine, which is on the lines of Mad. It was called Random. And through I was always into comics, but that had nothing to do with my what business I was trying to do. I was producing a lot of content through the publishing bit. We started basically selling a lot of content. So initially it was just selling digital content to people, who would outsource a lot of their website work or whatever to us. And then through that, we got into producing television shows also. So we would produce reality-based stuff for Channel V. We did something for Bindas. So during that time, as I would say a passion project, because the idea was, hey, we can't license Mad magazine because the math was too expensive. Like it just didn't add up.
Right.
So how about we create our own? In any case, we'll have to create original content. You'll only license a bit. And it's all about the names. So it doesn't matter. We'll call ourselves Random because we felt Indians were more random than mad. Yeah, and it was also available, to be fair, in the registry. So that was a good thing because initially when we started off, a lot of them with the other publishing projects, registering a name was very difficult. So anyways, cut to Random being there for a year or so, and it was not supposed to make money. It was just a way of expressing fun because the more boring selling stuff was the stuff that would make you money. So anyways, from there we got in touch with a lot of people who would do artwork and be trying to create their own comics. And funny writers and all of that. So I thought, okay, a magazine is being published. How about I start publishing comic books, because I in any case love them, and it would be fun. It would be new, and so I started publishing comics, and then I realized that during that time I had also launched a fake award show called Golden Kela Awards,
Okay.
which is like a like a Indian version of Razzies, and it was called Golden Kelas because that's golden raspberries and this is Kelas, and we did it for about 2-3 years, and I realized that at least okay, we were able to do a live event. It was in night only. It was nothing near a Comic Con or an exhibition. So from there, the whole idea, okay, we could do an event. We clearly can get coverage around it. So there's a lot of momentum. How about we do something in this space? And then no one had ever done a Comic Con in India. So for me, it was like, yeah, I have to, if no one has done it, then let's do it. We'll sell our own comics. So that'll help. The best thing ever, it'll be a coup because no one would have ever attempted or done anything like this.
Correct.
Because when we were publishing comics, we ended up meeting a lot of other people who were trying to publish graphic novels and all of that, and unfortunately in India, creativity somehow gets mixed up with a lot of intellectualism, so people try to make it more complicated than it is. And they would talk big about doing a comics or a graphical festival. And I mean, at the end of the day, you need to sell comics and you have to make it accessible to everyone. So, so they all had plans. I remember hearing it. So, I mean, it didn't pop into my head till I heard other people thinking of doing a Comic Con. I was like, okay, you know what? How about we try it? We have some experience with live events. How hard could it be? And even if it sucks or fails, we're not trying to make money on it. We're just trying to do it for fun. And I mean, obviously it took us over 6 months of planning, and we initially wanted to do it in 2010 winter itself. But if people remember, Delhi was hosting Commonwealth Games. So that made it slightly difficult. So then the availability of any venue was difficult. We thought, okay, where would we do it? So we got to thinking that we're not going to charge a ticket because no one really knows what a Comic Con is. So it has to be free to attend. And, it sounds like, I don't know how to explain it, but I feel old. But it's funny that in 2010, there weren't enough malls also where you could even think of doing it. Even though it was just 10 years back, that tells you how time moves fast. But so we thought, let's do it at Delhi Heart. So if you've been to Delhi, Delhi Heart is this open air craft bazaar. And it's a very nice place. People go there for food. They go there for, knick-knack shopping. And it's always busy in winters because it's so nice to kind of go there and, just waste time and roam around. And a lot of young people waste a lot of time there. So so we thought, okay, let's do it at Delhi Heart. So we convinced Delhi Heart to let us rent some of the space because they had just started renting some of their spaces and they did not understand what we were trying to do. So we had to keep explaining to them that this is cartooning or whatever because no one would understand it. But we got the space. Then we were like, the only way if someone would take us legitimately is that we announce and we do the show, even if no one comes. And even if there are very few attendees in terms of, stalls or whatever, because you have to do it to make people believe that this is real. Because a lot of people, what happens in India and even sadly now is that people announce events, but they don't tell you when it's happening, when is it happening, where the venue is, and they keep it pending. So, and since we were not looking to make money, so we didn't really care. We had a budget, and I mean, we had some idea how much money I'd spend on it. And I'd never done a live event in this manner, so I had no idea. So, but I was like, I'm willing to lose this much money, so it doesn't really matter if I don't get sponsors or whatever, and whatever money we can recover through people buying stalls and whatever we sell, sure. So. So it took us 6 months. We made a list of people who we thought were into comics or related parties, be it animation, gaming, or whatever. And we called everyone and we tried to sell them stalls. Some people had to be Fuslowed. For example, I remember Diamond Comics. So not Mr. Pran, but the publisher, Mr. Gulshan Rai. So he's like, look, I'm Diamond Comics. If you're doing Comic Con, you can't do it without me. I won't pay your stall money. I was like, you'll have to pay
Okay.
something. I can't do it for free.
Huh.
So he paid pittance, and I had to have him there because how could I do a Comic Con without Chacha Chaudhary? I
Without,
tried.
of
I
course.
remember we tried to get the Raj Comics people to come, but they didn't because they thought they were going to do some other live event of their own or something at that time. So that didn't
Okay.
work out. Um, but we got Chacha Chaudhary, and we had to because otherwise you'll get stuff. Even if people are not reading Chacha Chaudhary anymore, they just want to see a Chacha Chaudhary.
मतलब it's a cult. It's a cult in India.
The people at Amachitra Katha were amazing. They still are. They were so nice about it, and they took part. They even took a booth. They were. And their entire team also was going to be part of it. And Uncle Pai was supposed to also be there. This is
Uh-huh.
a year before he passed away, and unfortunately, he had a slip in at his home,
Oh.
and he was not well. Otherwise, he was going to get the lifetime. If you're doing the first ever thing, we need to honor one of the greats, and we thought we'll start with Uncle Pai, and we'll give him for his contribution to the comics industry and all. So his team was there on his behalf and everything. So if things came about, we got a lot of new publishers, everything, and the first event happened. The first day was amazing. The second day was going well, and then started raining, I remember, but people had a lot of fun, so we were like, it's okay, you can't control it.
Exactly.
But it was, I remember it was pretty intense, and pretty much everyone in comics at that point in time wanted to be part of it. So, everyone has their own hangups and issues, but no one was against it, no one was being negative, and it's just that they didn't know who I was, so we had no, like we were not some established entity of such. So it was, you look upon people you don't know very well as like, I don't know who it is and what they're trying to do. So,
Huh.
but in any case, so we went about it and we did the first show. The idea of the first show was basically if we were to attend a Comic Con, what all would we want to see there?
Correct.
I had never, despite me studying abroad and also being there, I had never actually attended a international Comic Con. I don't know for
Okay.
whatever reason. I only did that after I did my own show. So,
Okay.
so yeah, that's how the first show came about. And then after the first show, I realized that, it makes sense to maybe continue it. Everyone in my team was like, this seemed like we've hit upon something really interesting. It would, we also realized that no one is going to travel between cities to attend a show in India. So we may as well have to take it to other cities. So we thought, you know what, let's go to Mumbai, then let's go to Bangalore. So that's how it started off.
So, like, did you planned in different cities in the first year itself, or did you take some time? कि अच्छा, एक साल हो गया, 2 साल हो गया. Now let's go to other cities and see कि अच्छा, how is the response?
No, so right after the Delhi show, we realized that okay, there is some momentum in this, and this could be. It was also happening at a time where I was producing television shows for people, and what happens is when you pitch television shows to channels, at least back then, and if you're a small producer, independent producer, you don't get to own the copyright.
Right.
So you're a service provider. So what happens is that if the people you're working with stick around and you have a great relationship, then your thing continues. But the moment there are new people coming into that channel, or for whatever reason the pricing is different than what you're offering, they'll just switch you. So it's even if you have a great relationship, you don't end up owning the property. So that means what you created for them and you pitch to them and they own, you don't really control where it goes or forward, whether they will even renew it. So it was very frustrating. So and I am someone who always wants to control what I'm doing. I don't really want to be working for someone else. That wasn't my idea. So this kind of gave me an out of that. I had no idea how to make money on this at that time, but I was like, okay, I think I've hit upon something and everyone feels it. So we need to take it to different cities and see how the response is. And it was great every time. So from there on, after the Delhi show, we decided let's go to Bombay and let's go in winters because, barish nahi hogi, mausam garmi kam hogi or whatever. Mumbai was really expensive. I remember, so it was very difficult to host it, but we did the first show there in the same year in October 2011.
Okay.
And then in 2012, we were going to repeat both Delhi and Bombay, and then we were going to go to Bangalore. So we did the first Bangalore show in 2012. So And then every year, then we added a Hyderabad a year later, and then by that time, I guess we got to a place where we were like, let's try and first make money from these cities and then try and expand. So
Right. So, like, were you really amazed? Like, if you went to different cities, like you went to Bangalore, also you went to Bombay, also, and like the kind of like fanfare you saw amongst the people for the love for comics and everything. So, like, were you amazed? Ki, like, acha, like people really like feel like acha, theek hai. Like, because it's just not the comics; it's other things also. Like, there is cosplaying, there are other things. So, like, did that thing amazed you? Ki, like really, like people in India have like follow it like heart and heart.
I'll tell you what, I think people who were participating and a lot of regular visitors were amazed by the enthusiasm of other visitors. I mean, I knew that there would be an interest, and each city was very different. Like Delhi was more curious, Bombay was like, yeah, we already do. Oh, Comic Con, I know. And then Bangalore was like, oh my god, this is the greatest thing ever created. Even though the first show was honestly like just hung on string because it was so difficult to organize it there at that time, and we didn't have a lot of money. So and we also had very limited resources, so we had to keep plowing in money. So anyways, yeah, I mean, and obviously we were learning how to do a live event, and live event in India has many layers to it. So
Right.
so yeah, I mean, it was I mean, I knew that it would work everywhere. Obviously, I didn't know how. I thought the audience would more or less be the same type of people, which wasn't the case. So each city had a very different type of an audience, and now over these many years, it also depends where you do it in the city. So, for example, if you do a show in Gurgaon, the audience that shows up in Gurgaon is very different than the audience that might show up at a show which you do in Delhi, the proper Delhi city. So it's the same logic applies to when you do it in Mumbai. After 10 years of doing the show, I still meet people in Bombay like, oh, मुझे तो नहीं पता कहाँ होता है. अरे वहाँ होता है. It's too far from me. And I'm like, I have now traversed that entire city up and down. I know for a fact that on a Sunday or a weekend, it is not going to kill you. And I mean, your city has bad traffic, so there's nothing I can do if it takes too long to go anywhere. But yeah,
Exactly.
but we hear that, and that same applies to Bangalore, same applies to Hyderabad. I think people in India generally, a very small percentage will go out of their way to attend something they really like. Most people will want to attend out of comfort and curiosity, and that continues. But obviously, now that it's established, so there is a certain level of return customers and fans who will attend again and be there, and then everyone has their own interest in what they'll spend on and what they want there. For example, in cities like Bombay and Bangalore and even in Hyderabad, no one really looks at Comic Con as some, expecting that, oh my God, the food court or the food area would be amazing. But in Delhi, the expectation is that how can you do a live event and not have a food festival along with it? So the amount of care and effort that goes into creating a food area in Delhi, which is almost the size of the show itself, is insane. And lines nahi honi chahiye, time nahi lagna chahiye, cleanliness honi chahiye. So every city has its own thing, and we were pretty sure early on that it makes sense. And for me, because I wanted to do something which I own and control, and even if it sucks, I would be the one who does it. So that's why very early on only I started pivoting my business into this.
Correct. And it's been a decade now that you have been doing this thing. So you have done Comic Con event for a decade. So, and you have been to abroad also to attend Comic Con. So what is the major difference you feel like कि India में जो Comic Con हो रहा है और जो बाहर जो Comic Con हो रहा है? What is the major difference?
Money and size of market. So basically, the most of the pop culture in the world comes from US, right? American market or Western market to say. So when you're in the West, then when you do a show there, obviously your access to that content, those people is much easier. So if the most popular writers and artists in comics in the world would stay in India, then for them to come to our shows would be nothing, right? Oh, Bombay jana hai, Bangalore jana hai. But when most of them reside outside of India in countries far away, mostly in US, and they have actually never traveled all the way here. So getting access to them, so that's the difference. So when you go to an American show, by default, America would have an American organizer would have access to things which are way easily accessible and local, which we don't. So that is one of the biggest difference. And you would think कि अच्छा नहीं, but India तो इतनी बड़ी market है तो ये लोग तो यहाँ आना चाहेंगे. That's not everyone. That's maybe a Disney, a Warner Brothers. Most people are like, the cost of doing business in India and starting off is not easy. So over the last 10 years, I mean, not only we had to not only convince them to visit our show or get that content to India, but we also had to eventually set up things for people to, for those things to be available in India easily. So, for example, the first ever show that happened in India, in Delhi, had a couple of people selling T-shirts and all, but it was bootleg, and a lot of the collectibles, the toys and everything was imported. So you were paying a premium, and it was good stuff, but it was not made in India mostly, or it was not.
Correct.
In fact, quantity wasn't even there, or variety was there, right? But within a year, we got Disney to participate, and we said, look, you guys own they were, I think by the time they were the owners of Marvel, and they were going to buy, they'd already bought Star Wars also. So so for them, they had a live events team, and they kind of understood that what we're trying to do. So, and we also were trying to get people not just the access to Disney Zone, but we also wanted people to just be able to buy a Marvel t-shirt or a Star Wars t-shirt or anything that they wanted without paying an insane amount of money and going through a lot of pain. So all the people that if you see people like a Soul Store or a Red Wolf or Entertainment, so all of these, so they didn't exist. What their main core business now is selling a lot of licensed stuff. So at that point in time, that wasn't really happening that was happening on a very large scale, where maybe a very big company would license a character, but there were no smaller or mid-level companies who would come in and create a lot of that stuff. So that's actually happened in the past 10 years. So that didn't exist, whereas in US it was already there, and it has existed for many, many decades.
Correct.
The other thing is India was we were lucky. We came around a time when suddenly all these licenses were being given out. It became easier. All these people who own these characters understood that it would make sense to create a ecosystem in India. So that means you need to have smaller companies owning licenses, so that they can create T-shirts, collectibles, diaries, whatever they want, instead of trying to, why go after bootleggers. Why don't you create a legit way of doing it, so that you don't have to bootleg, you can just do it. So even getting access to comics. So Penguin Random House was the importer or distributor for DC in India. There's still no official distributor for Marvel. Hachette is, but it's not as regular about it. But Penguin Random House was, and in the second year, I convinced them the one should take a booth and sell. And at that point in time, you have to realize that Flipkart and Amazon wasn't even there. Flipkart was very nascent, so not everyone was buying their stuff online. So the first 2-3 years, Flipkart was still pushing a lot of books were big for them, and social media was also slowly catching up. So Penguin Random House wasn't selling a lot of comics, so when they would come to Comic-Con, they would do massive sales, and they would have stuff which was not obviously available anywhere, and people weren't even looking for it online. So those things started off with us only, and we were there at a right time where we ended up being a platform where all of these people could kind of connect with this audience and market themselves. Now, when someone comes to Comic-Con, it's gone from the idea of selling, it's got to marketing, because you can't, because the products are now easily available. So this is the place where you kind of showcase exclusive stuff and new stuff, or you market yourself so that people can become a regular buyer of yours. So those are the type of things which were missing in India. And honestly, since 2011 till now, I've traveled everywhere in the world, and I've seen so many Comic-Cons, including the Mecca, which is San Diego. You can't create that here in India, because we'll never be that market for America for another 10, 20, 30 years maybe. The Chinese are that market for Americans, but even the Chinese cannot get everything. So so we're going to get there, but in terms of what fans like, what people like, it's not so different. So the atmosphere that you get at an Indian Comic Con is exactly like the atmosphere that you get at an American Comic Con or a Chinese, well, not Chinese, but international Comic Con. It's people are having fun, they're dressed up, they're looking at their creators, they're really looking at different things they want to buy, they want to stand in line for different experiences, all of that. So and obviously in scale and size, we are now getting really big in terms of, in terms of just throwing numbers, we host the biggest Comic Cons in all of Asia. So the Chinese, but then they stopped. Chinese market is very controlled and sensitive. So it's not like, not that Indians are very open, but ours is much easier in that sense. We don't have censorship like them. But yeah, from that perspective, we've grown massive. And India as a market also has grown with us. And India as a market for international players is big now. So, when you launch an international TV show, you want to do something for India as well, or a big movie. And that's happened. And it's quite a journey till then.
Right. And over the years, what is your favorite part of Comic Con? 2-3 major things that have happened in Comic Con that are very close to your heart.
I mean, the best thing that I love about a Comic Con, the best moment at any Comic Con is when it's over, because I go home. And I can relax, because I've never been able to relax at a show. I love it when I'm at someone else's show. It is so much fun because you can point out all the problems and you don't have to be the person worried about it. But I've had some great moments. So initially, because at least for the first 2 years, I was running it without giving a damn about I make any money on it or not, because that wasn't my core business, and I just wanted to build it. I didn't really care how it. I was looking at Excel sheets. I was just managing it. And then, so during that time, a lot of the things that I would do and I would spend money on was so much fun. It was for example, we didn't have enough comics or toys in India, so I had to personally import it on my credit card and import all the comics, and which was a lot of fun because that means I was ordering stuff that I thought was really cool. So initially, for about 2, 3, 4 years, we would have our own store where we would be selling a lot of the stuff because there weren't enough exhibitors who would be selling this. Then it was fun because I would read a lot of comics and I would collect them, right? So I would reach out to everyone, creators that I wanted to see or publishers, and I would, say, okay, I'll buy your comics, I'll sell them, why don't you come over, we'll give you a booth for free, we want you to come to India, you have to see it. That was there. Then the second year we got someone who I look up to as one of the greatest graphic novel creators in the world. He's one of the he's super old, and he's so epic that there's a documentary which was made in the 90s that won an Oscar, got nominated for an Oscar. It was about him, Crumb, if I'm correct, or not an Oscar, but I think something big. I'm forgetting. But so Robert Crumb is the most well-known indie artist in the world. He's legendary. He's very old now, so he's much older now, so he doesn't publish as frequently as he did. He was a trippy guy, and he was so... Someone gave him a house in France just for a box full of his sketchbooks. So, so if anyone's ever heard of Robert Crumb, great, you can check out his panel when he attended Delhi. And he said it very clearly. He said, I'm coming over because I'm so old, I don't know when I'll ever get to... I wanted to see the Taj Mahal for with my wife. So that was his main aim, to come there, and we were lucky we were able to host him. And I know how we host a guest now in terms of the services and everything that we provide. We were very obviously amazed to take care of him then, but we had smaller budget. So I know how nice he was about it. And he's an indie guy, so he doesn't like mainstream stuff. So he understood what our show is, but he was nice about it. And anyone who was there in Delhi 2012 and got their books signed by him. I mean, those are priceless. I mean, I have so much from that day. That, I mean, I have a laundry list that I saved that he wrote down that he wanted to get laundry done in the hotel. So I
Wow.
saved it also. Yeah, so it was intense. So meeting people like that early on, and then later on when it became I mean we had to eventually I had to at least get it viable commercially, because otherwise it would die out. Then it started changing, where the highlights became like how do you get those zones to be set up. So the first ever, I remember we convinced Disney to set up a really amazing um, a Star Wars zone with stormtroopers and like
Okay.
a Darth Vader who walks in there. So that was a big highlight, I remember, because we were so excited, because it was like a full on like amazing setup, and it would looked amazing. And then I
Nice.
mean then we started hosting actors. So we got that guy Odor to come down. We got Mark Gatiss, I remember, and then we got one of the older Doctor Who's. So all of that has been very exciting. But I think the one thing that has remained constant and has been the most fun thing to do is, at the end of the day, you go and watch the cosplay parade, and you just see people go crazy, and you see some amazing costumes and amazing crossovers, and just so much fun. I mean, that is something that's remained constantly the most amazing thing to do at Comic Con.
And like, were you amazed? When we talk about cosplay, so like India, mein, the concept is very new. So were you amazed? Like people actually know about cosplay?
Not so. I'll tell you what. The first 2 years we had to wear. I wore costumes the first two shows. Which was weird for people looking at us, saying, "Pata nahi kya kar rahe hain." We had to encourage people we knew to, yeah, why don't you dress up? And they're like, what is cosplay? And they won't understand. We'll be like, fancy dress.
Ah,
They're like, okay. And then we would encourage anyone who was volunteering with us to do casual cosplay, which is like do a fun, easy costume which you can manage. So initially it was not easy, but then once it caught on fire, it just went on its own. It's a living, breathing, beautiful animal that grows on its own. We don't have to do anything, and city has its own people cosplaying, and I think it's just the sense of freedom, and kind of you let go of your inhibitions, and you also become a celebrity at the show. If you dress up even as a Chacha Chaudhary, you get stopped every 2 seconds, and you will like, can I take a picture? And you make friends, you meet new people, and it's there's a lot of emotions attached to it. So if anyone goes to our Instagram, in fact recently we reposted a video we shot with cosplayers in Hyderabad, and they're telling you why cosplaying and how much fun they have with it and what it means to them. So yeah, I mean now, if you'd asked me back then that what will it become so big and people professional cosplayers and they would go international, I wouldn't have believed it. But it's going gangbusters, so it's amazing.
nice. And like abhi, because of the COVID and also you are not able to do any of the shows and all. So abhi, like what is the plan for Comic Con India?
So we what we're gonna do, we didn't do much last year. We did 1 or 2 events online because we had something in the we had a forum that we had to do, so we were like, let's do it digitally, and we did it. And it was fun. I mean, it was interesting to do it like that. I am not a believer of an exhibit or a live experience event becoming digital, because it cannot. I mean, I can create the panels online, but I can't make you have that experience. I can't give you a better shopping experience than. I mean, there's also very limited ways of monetizing it. I know you could monetize performances and all, but I've seen how difficult it's been for performers also to get money, when you do it digitally. So we are waiting that maybe this year we will be able to come back with a limited capacity show, but we would want to do it like that. The other thing we're going to start doing this year, which we planned about last year, and then we wanted to do it properly, so we waited and planned it and strategized, and now we're going to launch, is you'll see a lot more content on our digital presence, which is unique content that we'll produce. So you might end up seeing web series by Comic Con India in the next I don't know, 6 months.
Oh, that's very nice. That would be
Yeah, I mean,
amazing.
but, I mean, it's something that we're working on. It's just some while because we have experience doing it in the past. At least I know I do, but we want to go about it in an
Hmm.
interesting manner. I mean, what I do right now is just a fun interview. That's not a web series. So we're developing a bunch of stuff.
Right.
So start seeing that in the next few. Hopefully by March it'll start coming out.
That would be very interesting to see, man.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Great. So on that note, thank you very much, Jatin, here for coming on the Unnamed podcast and like talking to me and like sharing like your experience with Comic Con. And I hope ki like things get much more better and like people get to experience Comic Con. Whosoever has not experienced till now, at least go there, experience the whole Comic Con vibe, and like get to feel how it is.
Thank you so much, man. I hope we can all come back to normalcy very soon. And thank you for having me on your podcast.
सो आई होप कि आपको ये एपिसोड ऑफ द अननेम पॉडकास्ट बेहद पसंद आया हो एंड इन केस यू आर एंजॉइंग दिस कंटेंट डोंट फॉरगेट टू फॉलो दिस पॉडकास्ट वेयर एवर यू आर गेटिंग योर पॉडकास्ट एंड आई विल सी यू इन द नेक्स्ट एपिसोड ऑफ द अननेम पॉडकास्ट टिल देन यू गाइस स्टे कूल स्टे टाइट एंड लिव लाइफ ह्यूमन साइज